This is Backdoor Boink, where we welcome every side of everyone. Please note, this is an 18-plus podcast. It's time to put in some earbuds if you don't want to answer awkward questions from your children, family, or friends. I'm Kayla, a certified relationship and intimacy coach.
And I'm MJ, and I brought the lube.
In this podcast, we explore the behind the scenes of a weekly wellness topic. Our goal is to help you feel good, be naughty. Thank you for checking out our After Dark, After Hours podcast. You can find more information, including our YouTube channel, social media accounts, events, Discord, and products at boinked.com. That's www.boink-ed.com. Now, let's get in that back door. There's a rule against me singing, but not a rule against you singing.
No.
Why?
Because.
Let's hear it.
No, because then people will write in and make a rule against me singing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Next.
We're recording.
Are we?
We're doing the thing.
You pushing the button without telling me again?
Uh-huh. I like to surprise you.
Yeah.
Kind of like surprise finger up your butt.
Ooh, surprise butt sex.
Surprise butt sex.
Yay!
All right. Let's get right into it. Unless you have anything you want to say first.
No, well, why are we recording if we're going to get right into it?
What? Oh, all right, pervert. No.
Oh.
Let's get into the topic.
Okay. I have nothing to say that I can think of.
Rope.
What about rope?
Rope. That's what we're going to talk about.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at my outline here.
It's beautifully blank.
It is.
Delightful.
You say I work better without an outline.
You do. The shenanigans level gets turned up to max.
Not quite max.
Turned up to 11.
Yeah, maybe more than normal. If I have an outline, I feel like I have to behave.
Yep. Okay. No behaving. We're talking about rope. Shibari.
Shibari?
Shibari? Say it with me.
Shibari.
Oh my God. Anyway, what's your experience with rope? With a rope play?
I've topped for rope play.
What does that mean?
I've been the rigger. I've been the one doing the tying.
Okay.
And I've bottomed. I've been tied up.
Okay. And how were those experiences for you?
Being the bottom's fun.
Yeah?
Being the top with a brat for a bottom is not so much fun.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
We joke, and people look at us and think we're crazy about role reversals, and you're the top when it would come to rope.
Yes.
And I've said it before. I'll say it again. I lost interest because I had a brat who wouldn't sit still while I was learning.
That is very, very fair.
I feel bad for saying that.
Why?
Because I know how much you're into rope now.
Yes, but I am into it as a top.
Yeah.
So that's perfectly fine. It worked out for the best. If anybody should be sorry here, it's me that I misbehaved to the point of you surrendering something that you might have been interested in.
I'm interested in being tied up. See how that goes.
Okay.
We've only done it a few times.
Yep.
But if I were more of a rope top at this point, I don't know as if you'd be into it as much.
No, probably not.
But that being said, you do bottom, not as often. What's your take on it as a bottom?
My take on it as a bottom is really difficult because it's a bottom from a top's perspective. I'm analyzing what people are doing with the rope and giving them feedback in real time. And
whether they ask for it or not.
You're
still being a brat.
Well, no. It is called active bottoming. And
Brat.
Active bottoming is really, really important when it comes to rope because of the risks involved. So that feedback of, hey, can you dress that rope on the top of my right arm? That's important. We're talking nerve damage.
That, yes.
So that's the kind of feedback I'm giving. There is a difference when I look down and I say, hey, your munter hitch isn't closed. Again, if you're not into rope, that makes absolutely no sense. But that's me bratting because it's not hurting the tie. It's not dangerous. Completely different things. But active bottoming is very, very important for rope. So I guess one of the things we should talk about is safety when it comes to rope. So what's the first safety thing that jumps to your mind?
Scissors.
Yes? Specifically?
Trauma shears.
Trauma shears. Yeah.
And I specify the trauma shears because they have that flat piece.
Yes.
If you're not familiar with trauma shears, they are the scissors that nurses carry, doctors carry, EMTs, medics carry. They won't cut the skin. They have that little lip that'll slide underneath your shirt, your pants, the rope.
Yep, it's got that little safety guard that can still catch under things without catching the skin. And those shears will generally cut through a penny. Well-designed ones, ideally.
Yes.
So yes, and it's not just enough to have them around. I'm not, again, not regular scissors, not like a knife you picked up and are hoping to wedge under there. That's just a recipe for disaster. But it's not just enough to have them around. They have to be within arm's reach, or they do no good when they're needed. Okay. We're going to run through safety, just to be clear, and then I want to talk about why people get into rope.
So we have the shears.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about nerves and stuff now or later?
Those are probably going to be the big ones, the big three. Safety shears, nerve damage, and circulation damage, or circulation loss. So nerve damage, big one that people aren't aware of are the nerves on the backside of the arm, the outer backside of the arm. That controls the motor function of your hand, whether or not you can wipe your ass or do your day job. Big concern. And then circulation loss, when things start to turn blue.
Well, in theory, you'll get static foot or static fingers first.
Yes, pins and needles. Our child calls it static foot, and then she runs around in circles banging her foot. It's adorable. So yes, the tingling sensation. Now
Hey, something's up here.
Something's up here. Tingling sensation you get, over the whole hand, for example, if there's something cutting off the circulation above the hand. Nerve damage would show as numbness or tingling in just 2 fingers or 3 fingers as opposed to the whole hand. So those are the big warning signs.
Yeah, nerves are weird. Nerves
are weird, and they do take longer to heal the more damage you do to them. So, but I don't want to, I want the big safety concerns, but I really want to talk about why people get into this.
Well, the reason we got into this originally when I started was for pretty pictures.
Pretty pictures.
Not so much the functionality of it, but for the aesthetics.
Yes. And I think that's where the bratting kicked in, because my brain didn't get what we were trying to do. My brain was like, why am I going to sit here and try to, behave so you can tie me down? I want to fight, and you have to, be quick about it. So rope didn't work for those purposes.
No, but we had fun anyway.
Oh, yeah. The few times that we were successful, plenty of fun, for sure. So aesthetics, pictures, what we would call decorative rope, absolutely a reason that people get into it. You see all the sexy pictures on Instagram. If you haven't, I strongly suggest going to Instagram and putting in Shibari.
Instagram. Pinterest.
Pinterest? I would not have thought of that.
Yep.
That's really good.
Well, I've long since gotten rid of my Pinterest account because I was using it for yard porn and it was starting to get expensive.
Yard porn was your downfall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they may have changed the terms of service, and you may not be able to post that stuff anymore. That was about 10 years ago. The Shibari was big over there. I mean,
it is an excellent, excellent art form.
It is.
So what's another reason that people get into rope then?
Torture.
Torture. Well, it was a form of torture at one point in time.
And depending on your
tastes, it still is.
It still could be.
Absolutely.
Some people like to give themselves a hug. There's
something comforting about it. The straitjacket, the thoracic compression around the chest, that hug is really, really nice. Ways to inflict pain with rope.
Suspension.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Let's... You know what? That's a really good point.
Let's just jump right into it.
We talked about the pretty photos that you get, and a lot of those are suspension. Taking rope and carefully, with training, wrapping it around someone and using rope to hoist them into the air. Suspension. Most of the pictures that you see on Instagram that have somebody posed and arched and all tied up and hanging and lovely, that took maybe 25 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes to get them up. And chances are they stayed in that position just as long as it took to take the picture.
Yep. They snap 1 million pictures and they find 1 in 1 million to post.
Yep. Because it's uncomfortable. It is not a hammock. I mean, there are some
ties,
harnesses. Yeah, there are some harnesses that are more comfortable than others, but generally speaking, it's putting pressure on a thin surface area in a lot of places, and that's another reason that active bottoming becomes really important. You have to know where to lift your body to take pressure off and move, and that can extend the length of the suspension. Also having a rigger that knows how to actually move your body in the air. Hooking up a different attachment, lifting somewhere else and lowering in another spot.
Having a rigger that has some assistance to help carry your weight while you're suspended in between pictures doesn't hurt either.
That is great. Always have an assistant with...
Or two
that can help lift is really, really important. So pain, suspension, crotch rope.
Fun.
Yep. Rope between the toes or pulling on the feet, very sensitive areas. Yup. Absolutely. Those are some really good forms of pain, masochist, sadist kind of rope styles.
Yeah. And again, it would depend on how tight you tie things or how much pressure you pull as you're put on things. They could also make for some really nice pictures.
Yeah. You're thinking about crotch rope pictures, aren't you?
No, actually, I was thinking of the foot.
Oh, the foot pictures.
The foot pictures.
And to be clear, you don't even have a foot fetish.
No, just the weaving of the rope in between the toes.
It looks really cool.
And in the basket weave on the top of the foot.
Yep. So when I first started developing classes for rope, one of the things that I wanted to go over is why are people into rope? And at first I thought it was pretty pictures, the aesthetic option, or bondage, pain, capture, that sort of thing. But what I am learning very quickly is that rope has a full nother option, and that is the connection that it builds. You can create an atmosphere, you can create an experience with rope that you can't always create with other tools.
Cuffs and collars, for
Cuffs
example.
and collars, you slap that on, it's done. But if I am going to pull rope across your body, I have a myriad of ways I can do that to create different experiences for you. I can use a soft rope and move it, slowly across you. Or I can be a sadist and use coconut rope and just dig it in and pull. All these different experiences and all the ways you position your body as you're making that experience is huge. It's fascinating. And it takes what you mentioned as art to a whole nother level. Can't just slap the cuffs on and be done. This is going to take some time. We're going to get into it. Here's where we're going.
Hang in there. It'll be a while.
Buckle up, buttercup. The last thing I want to talk about. So those are the whys for people getting into rope. But one of the other things that I like about rope so much is something we almost always touch on with the business. Accessibility.
Rope is cheap.
Rope is cheap.
Shears are cheap.
Shears are cheap.
And a 101 class is cheap.
Yep. A 101 class is cheap. Absolutely. And I recommend everybody take a 101 class. Even if you choose to explore on your own after there from books and everything, take a floor work 101. And if you ever dabble in suspension, take a suspension 101.
And let's be honest. Rope is something you can do to an extent alone. If you're tying decorative cuffs or giving yourself a mermaid tie.
Yep, tying up your legs, keeping it safe. We always recommend people don't tie alone within reason.
Within reason, safe and simple.
Yep.
You're just practicing.
And you can practice on anything at home.
We have a friend who used a coffee table.
Coffee tables are excellent. They work as a great torso. Corner shoulders. Yay. Practice there. Stuff a pillow up against the back of a chair.
Tie it to the chair.
Huzzah. Yep. Absolutely. So it's cheap. It's accessible. I mean, I don't normally recommend people go to Home Depot. If you do your research and you're just starting out and you're not sure it's something you're going to continue with,
you can buy jute-style rope at Home Depot.
Might not be something you want to put on somebody else's body, but for practice.
For practice, it'll be fine.
Have at.
Avoid the clothesline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Avoid the clothesline.
Yeah. So once you get into rope, there's all these different caveats for what type of rope you might want. How much weight is it going to hold? What does it feel like against the skin? What's its burn rate? Like, do I have to pull it really, really fast to get rope burn? Or is it a more forgiving rope? What's the diameter of it? All of these things. But to start out, yeah.
So you've been doing rope now, going to rope events.
Actively immersing myself.
In the rope community.
Yes.
What is the most common rope that you've noticed?
The most common rope is jute. It's a jute hemp kind of the natural fibers.
Natural fibers, followed by, what's the other big one? Posh?
So Posh is kind of the fallback for anybody that uses natural fibers. If they start to get into suspension, they'll use Posh for the lines that are actually going to run up and hold people's weight because it holds more weight. And that's really fucking important. But it's a little stiff for actually putting on people's bodies. So for the stuff that goes on people's bodies, you're looking at jute or hemp. Hemp's usually a little softer. Or all the synthetic stuff we call MFP, multi-filament propylene.
Yeah. Which is what I learned on.
Yep. Nylon, silk. I avoid cotton. Just,
well,
it's got its own dangers as far as getting locked up and stuff like that.
Again, avoid the clothesline.
Avoid the clothesline. But this is all the minutia. This is stuff you learn over time. And a lot of people in the rope community end up getting caught in these details. They get caught in the right way to tie a particular knot, or the right way to do a particular harness, or the right rope you should use.
Any perfectionists we know?
I have no idea what you're talking about. No, I very much like to teach it that here's the way that I find is useful to me. There are so many ways to get to the finish line. What is the experience you are creating? If you've created that experience for you and your partner or partners, that's a fucking success.
Generally, yeah.
It's kinky crochet. It's a big mess of knots and frictions and all of that. What did you get out of it?
The best part of rope is you don't need to tie a knot.
Correct.
Depending on what you're trying to do.
Correct.
Here, hold this.
Here, hold this, and then whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yep.
Wrap them all up. Do it in a way that creates the experience that you're looking for. As far as accessibility, which is one of my favorite things about rope, it's cheap. It's also fucking versatile. You take that one length of rope and you can create all those different experiences. It can be pretty, it can be bondage, it can be an experience, it can be sensual, kinky, you name it. But on top of that, it fits every human body.
Yeah, there's been some of that going around lately that I've heard.
Body shaming rope.
Yep.
Fuck that.
So what? You have to buy an extra hank. Who cares?
Who fucking cares?
Do you enjoy it? Do you like how it looks? Do you like how it feels? That's all that matters.
Yep. Don't ever let anybody tell you you don't have the body for rope. You look sexy in a harness, sweetie. I like to put on little harnesses that squeeze no, okay, just anyway.
But there we go.
What?
There we go. I don't like my body. And that goes back to, we'll say childhood trauma.
Yep, we touched on that.
We've touched on that in the past. I don't necessarily like the way it looks. I don't have the six-pack abs. I don't have the pecs. I don't have the broad shoulders. You think it looks good. And you make me feel comfortable.
Good.
So there's that. So don't let anybody rain on your parade.
No.
If you want to try it, try it.
Absolutely. And with the versatility of the rope, if you said, hey, I'm not comfortable with rope on my abdomen area. Okay, cool. Let's work on something around the hips and legs and arms and something like that where you don't feel that we are accentuating areas that you're not comfortable with. Maybe I can help you with that later down the line. Maybe we can build some self-confidence because you're sexy. But all of these things, there is no extra small, medium, large, triple X, none of that bullshit.
Nope.
You don't have to size your wrist to make sure that the cuff is going to fit.
No, you're tying the cuff on the wrist.
Yes, absolutely. And when you're doing that harness, I don't care how big or small your chest mass is, it is going to fit to you. And as long as you and your rigger remain in communication, you can find a way that makes you feel good, not just by the scene that you're creating, but with how it looks in the end.
And then you can be naughty.
And then you can, you're not spelling it Naughty, are you?
Well, I kind of was.
No, for this episode, it's Knotty. Naughty.
Mm-hmm.
Naughty. So those are reasons why people get into rope. Those are benefits of rope.
One of the few
other...
kinks that's actually cheap.
What?
At least to start.
At least to start. I may be sliding down the slippery rope of getting into the hardware for the suspension, and I want swivels, and I want cool rainbow chopsticks to turn my harnesses into sadistic predicament pieces, but generally speaking, it's cheaper than...
But you don't need the fancy swivels.
No.
Yes, you do need certain rated hardware for stuff like that.
But even that is cheap.
That is cheap. It's when you get into the fancy colors.
And the stuff labeled specifically Shibari or specifically mountain climbing gear.
Yep.
So the hardware that I use is stuff that I've purchased from Amazon that has the ratings that I need, and I've double checked everything. I meet my safety guidelines, but I'm not going down to a kink shop, and I'm not going down to a climbing or arborist store and paying $60 for a single carabiner.
No, it's like putting wedding in the front of something.
Oh my gosh, that jacks up the price big time.
I'm doing it for Shibari. Oh, well, you need this $60 swivel. No, I don't. I need the $25 swivel on Amazon that has the same rating made by the same company.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. The rope has its own community, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the...
It's got a sub-community of...
Yeah. Oh, and you know what? That leads me to probably... We'll wrap up with this, is... There are lots of rope communities.
Mm-hmm.
And not all of them are as welcoming as we hope they would be.
Kink has a lot of communities.
Oh, yeah.
And then they have a lot of sub-communities. Rope.
Right. ABDL.
Yeah, that was the other one I was going for. ABDL. Some are more welcoming than others. You're going to find that everywhere.
Yes. Some of them, especially, I feel it's generational in a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. Old school.
Yep. And I get it. There's reservations because their position came with a lot of scrutiny, a lot of...
They had to earn it.
They had to earn it, but also...
They also had to hide it.
Yes, exactly. It came with a lot of negative reactions.
Mm-hmm.
But my position on it is if you don't have a welcoming community, people are going to do things that are unsafe.
Mm-hmm. You didn't welcome them in. You find out that they hurt somebody, and then you feel like crap, knowing that you're the one that turned them away.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much to...
No. So the reason I bring this up is I want to be very clear that there are a lot of rope communities, which means if you look around your area and you find some and you don't feel comfortable for whatever reason, maybe they are a little closed off and cliquey. Maybe it's a matter of not feeling represented in the group, whether that's race, LGBTQ, whatever. You're not feeling seen or included in that way. There are rope communities all over, and I ask people not to get discouraged. There's a community out there for you.
There is.
Might take a little while to find it.
You might have to drive a little bit.
Well, we have people come 2.5 hours from New York to our place in Central Mass.
Yep.
Because they aren't comfortable with what's offered in their area. And this is what fits for them.
And that's fine.
Built a whole little boink rope community in Central Mass, and I love it.
Yep. I can't say much to it because I don't get to go.
You don't get to go too often. But on my free time, when I go out to the Eastern Mass areas for my extracurricular rope, you've come with me.
Once.
You came with me once?
Once.
And?
It was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
Okay.
Me not being a rope person?
It's a start.
It's a start. The people were nice. The place was nice.
Fantastic.
They were welcoming.
You've never been to one of my rope classes, have you? Oh my God.
I've been to 2 of your rope classes. 2.
Which ones?
The very first 2.
Wow.
because I'm home doing dad duty. And that's fine.
Holy shit, we need to get you to one of my rope classes.
We got to teach the dog to take care of the kid.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you get to work on that.
Yeah, okay.
In the meantime, you want to wrap this up and we'll go do some rope?
Sure, we can do that.
All right, let's hear a limerick.
An eager young fella named Wayne, all of his life sought a girl to inflame. All his dreams turned to ash. They were gone in a flash, for his doll was blown up with propane. Well, Wayne, give Kayla a call. We'll get you a deal on a doll.
Did you just rhymed.
Mm-hmm.
You just ad-libbed your own little tail end to that limerick, and I fucking love it. Did you plan that the whole time?
No.
That was really good. Hats off to you.
Poor Wayne.
Do you want to do our closing?
No.
I feel like you earned it.
No.
Okay.
Thanks, though.
You're welcome.
I don't have it written down in front of me.
Let's hear your best.
No.
Come on.
No, because I stop listening usually when you do your closing.
Okay, so from long distant memories, just give us your best. I'll do my closing, but I just want to hear your impression of me.
No.
This is a trap, and you are
Yes.
not falling for it.
No.
All right, say goodnight.
Good night.
Thank you so much for listening, especially when it comes to something that I am so passionate about. Hopefully you found some helpful information here tonight. We'll be back next week for more shenanigans, but in the meantime, stay you, stay beautiful, feel good, be naughty. Good night.
Ooh, surprise butt sex.
Surprise butt sex.
Yay!
Thanks again for listening to this podcast. I started Boink in 2022 with the goal to create a safe environment and culture for all genders and sexual orientations, to learn about and embrace every part of themselves and one another. We offer workshops, events, and various inclusive products, along with consultations to make sure we take a holistic approach to enhancing individuals' sexual satisfaction with themselves or their partners. I believe that when you accept yourself and your partner on the most intimate of levels, it filters out into your daily life. The World Health Organization recognizes this, saying sexual health is fundamental to the overall health and well-being of individuals, couples, and families, and to the social and economic development of communities and countries. So as long as you'll have us, Boink will be here. Kink-affirming, gender-blurring, sex-fulfilling. And you can find any of our details at www.boink-ed.com.